to the Polity, your deep dive into the forces shaping governance, policies, and power. From the halls of government.
You were there. I was not there. Check the record. Wait now. You were there. I was not there.
To the voices of the people.
We are suffering. This suffering is too much. It's too much. Look at the students. There's no job. They finish school. There's no job for them.
We analyze the undercurrents, expose the intrigues, and break down the narratives that define our democracy. Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki delivering razor-sharp analysis, and Ebuka Franklin and Chisom on the question wheel, driving the conversation. We bring you the most compelling discussions on governance, policies, and power plays. Stay informed, stay engaged, stay ahead. The Polity, every weekdays at 9:15 a.m. Exclusive on Udala 104.7 FM Onitsha.
Julius Caesar, who said that cowards die many times before their deaths. But I've often found myself wondering who a coward really is, because I see that sometimes cowardice is disguised, to come off as bravery. And yesterday, it was a jamboree of suspension. Yesterday, Honorable Bernard Odemezwe, popularly known as Isenyi, the representative of Ayamelum in the State's House of Assembly, was suspended. We've all had weeks of him using his social media platform to call out the Anambra State government for an alleged marginalization of the Ayamelum people. In his words, because he is on the platform of the PDP. Yesterday, an 11-man committee of the House of Assembly, led by Honorable Ofodeme Ikenna and co-chaired by Honorable Akbar Jude, endorsed a report, a lengthy one, infractions he has committed in the past, all tabled, and the punishment and the things he needs to do to sort of atone for his wrongdoings. And of course, that report states that he's going to be suspended for 3 months without pay and may be reviewed if he fails to comply in the coming days. Also, the Benue State House of Assembly has suspended its immediate past speaker, Hyacinth Dajo. He resigned on Sunday. He's been suspended for 3 months following a motion moved by Emmanuel Shimawa during plenary yesterday in Makurdi. Shimawa said that Dajo should be suspended for attempting to impeach Governor Hyacinth earlier. Also, yesterday we saw the rocker from the Northern Bloc speaking about the zoning of the 2027 ticket to the south. It's been raising a lot of dust and politicians and interest groups from the north are not having this idea of the presidential ticket of 2027 being zoned at all. Also, yesterday in Imo State, the minimum wage was moved from 76,000 to 104,000 naira. And this is some big move, I must say. Commendations to Governor Hope Uzodinma. Now, the question is, can other states replicate, especially since many states are even yet, or some states are yet to implement the 70,000 naira minimum wage approved last year. Now, all of these are many more we get to clarify, and of course, back with facts on today's edition of the Polity here on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Good morning to you and welcome. My name is Chisom Chinedu, and of course, on the analysis desk, I have Dr. Tony Olisa Mbeki. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, Ndi Anambra. Good morning, in Onitsha. Good morning, everyone. Wherever you're listening to us from, for those of us, our brothers who are in United States of America, those in Italy, those in South Africa, those in Vietnam. I know many of you via the social media platforms follow this program, and I'm also aware that some of you listening to the repeat broadcast that usually comes up at around 2 midnight. You're welcome. It's a pleasure to be here. We say good morning to God Almighty, the Maker of heaven and earth, for His love, for His grace, for everything, for us to be here in our sanctuary to pontificate the truth. You're welcome.
Of course, we have the papers on our desk this morning, like we always do on the Polity. We're going to go straight to telling you what the front pages say. We have the Vanguard, the Punch, the Nation, and the Guardian newspaper. And of course, starting from the Vanguard banner headline here, Presidency, Northern Bloc suppose PDP zoning ticket to the South. This story is on page 5 and it has a lot of writers. The first one, Northern Youth kick against PDP's decision. We won't take it. North Central stakeholders tell PDP APC decision violates Nigeria party's constitutions. Hashim Group, okay, and APC PDP may lose in North to a strong Northern candidate. Rufai, PDP members demanding zoning ticket to North are selfish, but they judge. Obi keeps LP, PDP gazing. I listened to Abamoro yesterday night, and he was, about PDP being in talks with Peter Obi, also PDP being in talks with Jonathan. And I was like, are you guys going to pick a struggle already? ADC tackles PDP, APC on zoning ticket to 2 years to poll. Says PDP trying to lure Jonathan Obi Amechi. Interesting picks, I must say. And Nigeria, Brazil signed MOUs to strengthen relations. Yes, we know the president of Nigeria has been from Japan. He moved to Brazil, looking at ways of boosting diplomatic ties and, of course, seeing how it's going to reflect on our economy. But then we've always had that talk about putting home in place first. You don't invite a person to come party in your house and there are rats, loitering everywhere. Passengers scamper as Abuja Kaduna train derails. On page 6, investigations are on. On page 10, Benue Assembly suspends ex-speaker over Governor Alia's impeachment move. Third mainland bridge mishap. Last mile police FRSC differ. On page 10, Ribadu hands over 128 rescued kidnapped victims to families. On page 7, Nigeria records 46% decline in variant poliovirus cases. NPH CDA on page 9. Nigeria's Danta Seho elected vice president of Global Ports Body on page 9. The kind of irregularities with our ports here in Nigeria need to be fixed. There's a story on The Guardian addressing that. Tinubu imposes 6-month ban on export of raw shea nuts on page 19. Are we about to harness what we've got at home? ASU's protest disrupts academic activities on campuses nationwide on page 8. Are we still on this? Ocean drags FG to Supreme Court over withheld local government allocations on page 10. Going over to the nation now, oil giant Petrobras return is key giant of Tinubu's Brazil visit. find this on pages, or rather, find this on page 2. Airpeace clearance for Lagos Sao Paulo direct flights excites president on page 2 as well. Minister opens talks with ASU as varsity lecturers stage 1 in protests on page 4. NSA reunites 128 rescued victims with families on page 3. Abuja Kaduna train derailment, Tinubu promises support on pages 3 and 27. RHI lifts 500 Zamfara women on page 3. Shown lawmakers visit Olubador designate on page 5. Oyebanji, no one can pit a kitty against Tinubu. Governors, 2 others pick forms on page 23. PDP regrets feuding Atiku in 2023, says Abamoro on page 3. Benue Assembly suspends ex-speaker for anti-Alia plot on page 4. Nigeria's Dansoho elected VP of Global Ports Body on page 3. Now heading over to the Punch newspaper. U.S. court jails Oshun monarch over $4.2 million COVID-19 fraud on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. 239 first-class lecturers quit Unilag over poor pay XVC on page 7. ASU protest rocks campuses ahead of FG talks on page 29. Withheld allocations, Ocean drags FG to Supreme Court on page 7. 2027, PDP ticket zoning to South splits North on page 2. The Riders Party Northern stakeholders to review decision next week. Move may favor Tinubu's re-election. Arawa Youth warn. Zoning fair to South, says Middle Belt. Probe begins as Abuja Kaduna train mishap injures 6 on page 27. And of course, we are going to move over to the Guardian newspaper now. The banner headline on the Guardian: over 5,000 cargoes trapped at ports amid 2 trillion naira demurrage losses on page 6. Pauses over security contracts, maintenance after 188th train derailment in 6 months on page 6. Gunmen kidnap pastor, worshipper couple in Kogi, Katsina on page 30. Ocean drags of G to Supreme Court over withheld LG funds on page 5. Rivers local government polls, please vow tough time for cultists and troublemakers on page 29. Electricity consumers raise concern over tariff hike, epileptic supply on page 7. Pencom Miles new pension investment rules recover 4.57 billion naira from 138 defaulting employers on page 3. Patients, caregivers groan as power cut throws Yaba Psychiatric Hospital in darkness on page 9. ASU threatens nationwide strike over unmet demands on page 3. Court others for feature of ex-military officers 5 billion naira shares to FG on page 30. Insecurity, Tinubu to unveil revised national counter-terrorism strategy on page 3. Now you'd have to pick up a copy of the Guardian newspaper to see these stories and more. And of course, before we go over to the conversation proper, Tony, today is August 27th, 2025, and it's a reminder that the present day Anambra, as we have it since it was, carved out from the old Enugu state, was done on the 27th of August, 1991. And so it's safe to say that we are 34 years old today. And the big question is, for a 34-year-old child, or say a 34-year-old man, look, imagine Anambra State as a 34-year-old man. Is he doing well? You get what I mean? Likening Anambra State as it is to a man, a human. Imagofo, akana bonyele ajaninku. Is he still okaneli mama thankma? What do you have to say?
I think I don't want to just look at just Anambra State, because there will be other states that were created on August 27, 1991 by the then President Ibrahim Badebosa Babangida. And then in creating Anambra State, he created other states. But you asked quite a number of questions. But I must also let you know that states like Adamawa State was carved out from Gongola State. And then remember, Gongola State was just simply split into Adamawa and present-day Taraba State. So Adamawa was created. I know it was created to address ethnic and then administrative demands in the northeastern region, particularly for the diverse ethnic groups in the former Gongola State. I remember when we were growing up, we used to say 19 states of Nigeria and their capital. And at a point, when we got to that Gongola, I remember we usually call it Gongola and Gola. You know, it's Gongola and Yola, because Yola is the capital, but then we call it Gongola and Gola. But I remember those days. But that's by the way anyway. And we also have Taraba State, just like I said earlier on, Enugu State, created. Remember, it was carved out from old Anambra State, and it was created alongside the new Anambra State, not just Anambra State that was created on that very day. I'm also aware that Edo State was created. Bende State was split into two. You have Delta and then Edo State, and then you also have Yobe State that was also created. You have Jigawa State, you also have Kebbi State, you have Osun State. These were states, about 9 of them, that were created on this very day, 27th August 1991. But now you want me to talk about Anambra State. Okay, let's go on and talk about Anambra State outside other states that were created alongside Anambra State. And then when you asked if Anambra State, yes, I remember when it was created, we had Old Anambra State that was created by Murtala Muhammad. So we knew very well that, I remember the protests that led to the creation of Anambra State. There had been some prominent people that had gone. In fact, Ebonyi State would have been carved out as its own state, but then President Ibrahim Badebosa Babangida listened more to the agitations from those coming from Anambra State, especially led by C.C. Ono and many other Anambrarians at that time. So you asked, 34 years. If a man is 34 years, the man by now is expected to be married and possibly have children. And possibly he should be doing well in his respected field of endeavor. The man shouldn't be seen to be in universities or colleges of education or polytechnics. The man is expected to be purely independent and at the same time,
of labor.
Possibly, yes. But we remember the Nigerian factor in some of these things. We remember Nigerian factor. We must not overlook it.
The leadership factor.
Yes, that's just that. I remember, if you look at how the state was conceived, the founding fathers of these very states. I know Anambra State created in 1976. That is old Anambra State, from the former East Central State, if you could remember. And the old Anambra State, we know what it was like before now. So when it was 1991, I think on 1991, we saw how Awka became the new capital from nothing. Awka wasn't.
Does Awka look like a capital city?
It's a question. It's a question. Does Awka look like a capital city? The last I visited Awka, it does. Because
is it beginning to, or does it?
No, it does. It does. Based on Nigerian.
By what standards? Because
we are using Nigerian standard anyway.
Using Nigerian standards,
yes.
You go to Lagos. Okay. And you have Ikeja, right?
Okay, yeah.
You go to the likes of Enugu, you have their capital city. You look at, you go to Akwa Ibom, you have, the point is, when you compare Awka with some capital cities in Nigeria, even Ebonyi capital city, I mean Abakaliki city itself, does Awka, the present administration is making efforts, we see. But does it look?
It does to an
like
extent.
A 34-year-old capital city that has seen how many tenures of governors supposedly reside in Awka?
I think we are looking at geographical map, but you asked me, does Awka look like a capital city? I said yes. Why do I say so? If you go to Awka, they have good roads, majorly. I looked at the roads newly done by the government. If you look at that Unizik Junction, that road that gets into the old Thames site, I believe by now, I know when they protested against that road by the students, and then you look around the Abakaliki area, but we need more. It is not enough to say it does look like, but the question is, if you use Nigerian standard, it does look like, but if you use the world standard, you may say it does not. So it depends on the standard you are using. So if you use Nigerian standard, there are many states. Oka is far more better than. I don't want to run comparison, because if you run it, it will generate problem. So I don't want to run comparisons. But the fact remains that it does look like a capital, judging by Nigerian standard. You have 3 flyovers there. There's no doubt. You have the one at Kwata. You have the one at Amobia. You have another one at Amobia, Kwata, and then even before then, I think there are 3 flyovers constructed by the former governor, Willie Obiano. And also there is also a pedestrian. There is another flyover being built in Oka. So by the time that flyover is completed, no matter whether it is flyover or not flyover, I know people will argue that 3rd one, is it flyover? Where is it flying you to? At least it becomes 4. And you look around the issue of pipe-borne water. If you use Millennium Development Goals to assess Oka, you talk about, does Oka have a tertiary hospital? It does. You have Amako Teaching Hospital built by P2B, and that hospital wasn't even there, but that was a state tertiary hospital. And then you also look at education. You've got best of the schools around that very area. In fact, I saw geographic picture of Oka, and I will tell you that it does look. If you see geographic pictures, it does, but it doesn't stop there. It does not stop there. But that is not enough. That's not all you count when you talk about a 34-year-old person. You will talk about the economic growth and then possibly the internally generated revenue. But I'm also aware that the state, it is not based on the governor who is here. We are talking about what other governors have done in the past. When we talk about Anambra State, we are talking about, I don't want to count the military governors. I want to continue or count the democratically elected governors. We had Chukwuemeka Exife Okwadike, who was there for a given period from January 1992 till Abacha took over. So that was one. And then immediately after that, we had Mbanuju. Immediately after Mbanuju regime, no matter how you try to assess Mbanuju regime,
arguably one of the worst.
He wouldn't say in the area of security.
That's why I said arguably.
No, yeah, there were other things he was able to do, but there were lapses on the other side.
You know, I would never forget that regime, because it was the time teachers were owed for a very long time. And my mother is a teacher.
Not just teachers.
It lives rent-free in my head.
It wasn't just teachers, even the health workers.
I was not a child, Tony, but every teacher was crying.
I think we knew what happened. It was as a result of his fight between him and his godfathers. Godfathers brought him, and they wanted to rip the state apart. So he was not remitting as expected. In fact, he was remitting everything.
To the point of owing teachers.
That was exactly what happened. That was what happened.
State.
It was his own anomaly. It was his own mistake, no doubt. But Ngige came and fought godfatherism. You must give it to Ngige. You remember, Anambra State was the first to move into off-cycle election as a result of the doggedness of those who believe that godfathers shall not reign supreme. So Ngige came and he brought a lot of light. Ngige made us to know that there is money. Government has money to the point that it can use that money to execute projects. We saw for the first time projects spanning across the state, quality projects under Ngige. So these things we are witnessing in the state.
Keyword quality.
Exactly. We saw some major projects. In fact, the dilapidated roads and so many other things came back to life. That wasn't Ngige. Then P2B came. And when P2B came, yes, in his 2 years, he was busy studying the state, amazing, saving a lot. And when he began work, everybody started clapping. Everybody clapped. In fact, he wowed so many people. Ngige started giving back missionary schools back to their owners. He was the one that laid the foundation. And P2B came and executed it. And immediately, mission schools were given back to their rightful owners. We saw how that expanded and introduced quite a lot. You know, you can go on and say nobody is perfect and no government is perfect. No government in the world has no errors, mistakes, but over the time, we would say that Anambra has come to the point that we must acknowledge. You can't compare if you talk about Enugu State. Enugu State, for instance, is not a new state per se.
Former Eastern capital.
Former Eastern capital. I'm not just being former Eastern capital. Former old capital of Anambra State. They return the whole thing. They return everything. In fact, Anambra State started from the scratch. So when people run this comparison, you must measure egg with an egg. So when Willie Obiano came, no matter how he brought international airport, a state that has international airport, Willie Obiano built it. He built International Convention Center, second to none in Nigeria.
Don't say that.
As at the time he built,
as at the time,
because we have seen.
Because look at what Enugu has as their international convention
Enugu just recently completed their own. The moment Willie built the one he built for Anambra State, it was the best. It was the best. And at that time, it was the best then. So now, a state that can boast both international, call it, though not international level, but it was built for international standard. You have the airport, International Convention Center, you have tertiary institution. Okay, look at the Fun City, amusement park, water park. That one, I don't want to praise it, but it is second to none in Nigeria. It's a capital. No state capital has such kind of Fun City. So
I haven't been around, but I must say the Fun City is a thing.
So the thing is this: are we where we are hoping to be? I'm expecting to see skyscrapers. Honestly speaking, that's the kind of state capital I want. I want to see skyscrapers sprawling from different nooks. I want to see that vibrant economic activities. I want to see the raw. There are so many things I want to see. As a person, are we where we are supposed to be? The answer is no. But there have been tremendous work done. So we must acknowledge those who did those works, starting from Ezife down to definitely. You must pay tribute to these men. They have done they have tried their best. They have done much. But just like if you ask me, where do I want the state to? I want to see skyscrapers. I want the state to look like New York. I want the state to look like California. I want the state to look like Los Angeles.
Well,
that's my expectation.
For a state that hosts arguably the largest number of billionaires, that's what they say, we are hoping that someday we would get there. But of course, we are going to be shifting to politics. Politics is not just a conversation that we have for the conversation's sake. It is the reality that we have come to live in, because political decisions affect us thoroughly. As a matter of fact, I was thinking about it this morning, and it remains small. Maybe politics, they affect the air we breathe. As a matter of fact, when you look at world politics and the things that have to do with global warming, it even affects the quality of air that we breathe. But of course, before we proceed to, giving details of that suspension of the member representing Ayamelum in the Anambra State House of Assembly, Honorable Bernard Udemezwe, the one we know as Isienyi, Franklin Ebuka just joined us. Good morning, my guy. I'm so sorry about what you've been through this morning.
Hello, good morning, and good morning, everybody. And of course, the experience this very morning that experience this morning. It's a reflection of what I normally say, that the problem we have in this country is not just about leadership; it's about even the followers. Just imagine when you get to a point where there is traffic diversion because of road reconstruction. And while we're trying to navigate it, there was this very convoy. I don't know whether it was the governor or somebody else who was driving down to Onitsha. This happened at Otumodu. So we had to wait for the convoy because initially the road contractor refused to open that very place, that we had to go and take another diversion. But after from the persuasion, they had to open it. So trying to navigate, there came this very convoy. So we had to wait for the convoy to pass. And the moment the convoy was done passing, we tried to navigate our way, and there was this very man driving Sienna who came in and blocked everywhere. Okay, Oga, shift small now, make we pass. He said he can never do it.
Okay.
He said he can never do it. He swore he wouldn't move an inch. And all of us were stuck there until soldiers came from nowhere and gave him a dirty slap, and he was forced to move. So I keep on wondering why we still use this kind of mentality. You keep everybody stuck at a point just for you to move an inch backwards, and everywhere becomes. I don't know. Nigerians are. I don't know. I don't know why we think this very way.
Remind me of Falz's song, "This is Nigeria." That's how we're doing here.
We need. I don't know why people always brag about this, but I'm not going to move for you. I don't know what people gain from that. It's quite, sad one.
We're all pursuing different things. Apparently, he has nothing really urgent to handle. If he did, he would have found a solution. But then, well, Nigerians, we can do better. We can stop this mentality of this is Nigeria and this is how we do. We can actually do better. We are all products of habits, and you're not too old to change that bad habit that you have. So, Tony, yesterday, the suspension of Isinyi was announced. And according to the statement released, the evidences relied upon by the committee to sanction or to endorse his 3 months suspension include the first being his inciting comments on social media, as presented by Honorable Tony Mbeki. Various reports from honorable members of the House of intimidation and threats to life on the 8th Assembly WhatsApp group. Petition by Saxum legal attorneys alleging assaults, threat to life, intimidation, and unlawful interferences in respect of Amajili Ulanko land. There was also a petition by the Security Department of Nnamdi Azikiwe University alleging misconduct, use of force and intimidation on their security personnel. Number 5, a report of misuse of office as former chairman, House Committee on Homeland and Boundary Affairs, particularly his consistent use of official influence to bail out suspected cultists and assailants. Petition by Chimogo Benjamin Chinedu, an indigene of Omo, his hometown in Ayamelum, against Honorable Demezwe for threat to life and conduct unbecoming of a legislator. Also, the evidences include the standing orders of the Anambra State House of Assembly, the 1999 Constitution as amended, the Legislative Houses Act 2017, and other evidences as seen and generated through or via Honorable Bernard's social media handles like WhatsApp and Facebook. And so, summarily, there have been various petitions against him for threats to life, assault, intimidation, unlawful interferences, and use of force at different times as a legislator. Now, summarily, he's been asked to, or rather, the recommendations now from this group, this team, an 11-man team that carried out investigation, include that he should tender an apology letter, a written apology, to the Speaker of the Anambra State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Somtochukwu Nkem Udeze, honorable members of the House of Assembly as well. He should do this on social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, etc. Also, this has to be done within 5 working days. Secondly, on the allegation that he made linking the Anambra State Governor to the kidnap of late Honorable Justice Azuka and the alleged impeachment plot. He said in one of his videos that there was a plot going on to impeach the sitting governor of Anambra State, Professor Charles Chikuma Soludo, which he alleged led to the kidnap and subsequent murder of Azuka. The committee has recommended that the State's Commissioner of Police in charge of the Anambra State Police Command and the Director, State Security Services, Anambra State, be communicated forthwith to investigate the allegation, as Honorable Udemezwe has proven to have vital information that will aid the investigation. Yes, he kept saying in those videos that he has proof. He's also going to be suspended for 3 months without pay. He's not to be seen anywhere around the state's House of Assembly. He should also be subjected to various special sessions, trainings, and workshops on right parliamentary ethics, practices, and duties. Tony, so we saw this coming. We knew that the Anambra State House of Assembly, the 8th Assembly, led by Somtochukwu Udeze, Honorable Somtochukwu Udeze, is not going to let this slide. As a matter of fact, no state's assembly is going to let the kind of things that Bennett has been doing for quite some time now slide. What do you think? How do you feel about the punishments and the recommendations so far?
Well, the House has power to regulate its own proceedings. If you go by the provision of Section 101 of the 1999 Constitution, it is explicitly stated that a House of Assembly, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, shall have power to regulate its own procedure, including the procedure for summoning and recess of the House. Constitution has given different state houses of assembly the powers to regulate their own proceedings, as we have seen under Section 101. You know, I have always said I'm on the side of the law at all time. I will always ask you, what does the law say? That is my position. Anything contrary to the provisions of the law definitely will not be my position. But I like vibrancy. If you look at this young man from Ayamelum, I don't know if he's from Ifitogware.
He's from Omo.
I know he's from Omo. You know, I want to link both of you because I know you are from Ifitogware. So hold on. So the young man, I like his energy, no doubt. He has got energy. But the question is he putting his energy to rightful use? It's a big question. I think he should be one of the youngest in that 8th assembly, if not the youngest. But let me put it this way, one of the youngest
he's
members.
32.
And if you look around, just like you said, he is 32. Yes. And for being 32 years, I believe he should be the youngest. We have seen his energy, the adrenaline, the all manner of energy has exhibited. But the question is, has he used it? Look at the petitions you are reading out. You counted 1, you counted 2, you counted 3, you counted 4, you counted 5, you counted 6. The same person. And if you look at among these petitions written against him by different individuals, what would you best describe the whole thing? Youthful exuberance. When a petition is written against you by Unizik security outfit, alleging molestation, alleging intimidation, alleging harassment, that is one. Then when petition is written against you by a particular family on how your man handled their daughter, as alleged, you pushed their daughter out from the moving vehicle, and we are told that the House went further to engage these families, engage these people that have written petitions so that they will douse the entire fire. But notwithstanding, people would ask, why are these things coming now? Is it because he criticized the state government? Is it because he let the cat out of the bag? Is it because he revealed some things that we don't know? So you know all these things, all this why you kept it in the bag, you did not say anything about these things, and you are bringing these things out now. It's also another concern. We must also have that as a concern. Now, we have seen the issues he raised. Let's now forget the way and manner he raised those issues. Because if you are to go straight into the ways and manner he raised those issues, one would say those manners and ways he raised those issues are condemnable. You don't insult, you don't use brigandage, fire and brigandage to raise your concern. You don't use all manner of coercion threats. You don't threaten people for nothing. But let's look at all those things. Let's leave the way and manner those things were done and look at those issues he raised. One, if I'm not mistaken, I will take those issues one after the other. He did allege that that government may be aware. I don't know, I want to use his exact words. So I'm just trying to find where that was written so I can use his exact words. That he alleged that the government, he fingered the government, according to the report I have here, that he fingered the state government in the kidnap and death of late Honorable Justice Azoka due to a planned impeachment plot of the governor. Now, if you look at this allegation, it's weighty. It's not something that you can slide, especially when it has to do with the death of someone. And where there was also alleged kidnapping. And then in that video I watched, he did also made it known that it was as a result of his involvement in impeachment. But I'm aware that for you to impeach a governor of a state, you must have two-thirds majority of all the members. And what that means that for you to impeach a governor of Anambra State, you must have about 20 members in support. One person cannot impeach, 2 persons cannot impeach, 6 cannot impeach, 10 cannot impeach. You must have about 20 members on your side for impeachment to be true. So if you are plotting, if you are meeting and that number is not seen, anybody will describe such movement or whatever you are doing as just jamboree. But this allegation, I believe, for me, immediately I saw that, I said, no, he has to be invited by the police to investigate, or for him to explain more, to give vivid explanation, because many Anambrarians had been looking forward to have explanations as what happened to this young man. It's not about sentiment. There is this Latin maxim, Latin principle I have always cited. Anybody who knows me knows that I've always cited that he who alleges must do what? Must prove. It is a natural principle. In fact, it's a natural law. You cannot allege and go and hide your face somewhere. That is why I always maintain onus propandi incubis equidicit, non equi negat. You must substantiate a claim. You cannot allege and leave the person you are alleging to take over to do the substantiation. No. Once you substantiate to the point that we can extract prima facie, then the person will enter into defense. Even in court, if you bring a matter before a court and for whatever reason, you must lead the argument to prove whatever you are alleging. At the point, once you have done your own bit, then if the court will now, maybe the defendant will file a motion of no case. I have seen people, and then the judge will rule whether there is a case or no case. If he rules there is a case, he asks you to enter into defense. If he thinks there is no case, he will sustain your no case submission. So, but he hasn't proven anything. So, he has to give every evidence. Nobody is saying that he may have evidence or he may not have. Let's not go there. The young man may have evidence. Who knows? But it is important he brings forward those evidence so that everything will be bared. That is one. And also, he alleged again that they are not allowed to move a motion on issue of insecurity in the state. That's what he alleged. Now, that was why he was summoned by the committee set up to investigate his allegations. No matter how you look at it, the Constitution under Section 101 has given the House the power to regulate his proceedings. And I'm also aware that the Homeland Security Law was debated. What was his input? What was his input? Because immediately that Homeland Security Law was passed into law, he was made the chairman of the Committee on Homeland Security. But according to the House replied that he was bailing cultists, most of the arrested cultists, that he will go and bail them. And he was using his position as the chairman of the Homeland Security Law to intimidate, to harass, to oppress people, which he did to Unizik security outfit. And they wrote petition against him until he was removed. In fact, he was removed before now. But he also figured that his removal was because he went there, and then at the Agunechemba dungeon, he was able to see how these people were detained for long without prosecution. Yes, if that be the case, it's also a good insight. If he has got the video, release the video. What?
He said he has a video.
Why don't you release it? You know, one thing about the young man is that all the allegations he has made, he has not released anything to prove any of them. So if you think you've got it, that's what people are begging for. See, if you think that there are things like this, I'm not saying they do not exist. Don't judge me on that. I'm saying that whatever you think you've got to prove a case, why don't you release it?
Going by the law, Tony, isn't it supposed to be a crime for you to see that something wrong is being done and you have an evidence and you hold it? I mean, isn't it amounting to you being an accomplice or abating that crime?
It depends on the law you are talking about, because we have quite a lot of laws. You spot things going on and you believe you've got evidence to help securities, to help authorities to arrest the situation. You raise the alarm, you hold back the evidence. Definitely the authorities will invite you. It's in the law. You'll be invited to bring those things you said you have the evidence. If you look at all the allegations he has made so far, he has not released any single evidence. One could say that he may be right, but you need evidence to support it. One may think he may be wrong. You also need evidence to support it. See, the point is this. At 32 years, we are talking about a state being 34, and what is expected of a man that is 34. What is expected of a man who is 34 is also expected of a man who is 32. See, my concern is this. He has not used his youthfulness in the right direction. He can be a strong opposition in that house. But how does he go about it? I have always preached about opposition being allowed to breathe. They must be allowed to breathe. And opposition must be allowed to do their work as opposition. Right. They may not be in support of the government. They may decide to criticize because they believe they have a credible alternative. It's part of politics. So
actually, democracy.
That is democracy for you. I think the idea of going to social media to highlight some of these things, I don't have a problem with that. But why you are doing it at the social media, are you doing it on the floor? Because I was told that he was absent for 52 sitting or legislative days in a year. A State House of Assembly has about 120 days, legislative days. And when you are absent for 52, do you know what that means? If you go by the provision of the Constitution again, because the law has a statement on that. The law states, if you go by provision of the section of the Constitution that talks about the right to be present during plenary session, you would also understand that he has also defied that position, because you cannot be absent for more than 42 legislative days. But he, I think 42 or 40, but he is absent for 50 something. So you find out that the Constitution made it possible that he will be denied certain entitlements and certain rights within the legislative year. So the point I'm trying to make is, he who alleges must prove. So let him go and prove these allegations. And he was invited. He called those people that invited him Ndiara. He labeled the house the mad people. He said he will use threat. He will use this. We have not gone to Banana Republic now. We have not become Banana Republic. At least we have established laws. We have not gone to the point of where you can say anything and allege anything and go scot-free. We have not descended into that law.
All right, then. The PDP zoning of the 2027 ticket to the south is something the northern politicians, or some northern politicians, are not having at all. The likes of Abamoro are in support, and there are factions who would not have anything to do with it, who think it's denying northern politicians who are interested come 2027 the opportunity to freely run this election. All of that we are going to look into right after this break. Do stay.
From the commercial city of Onitsha comes Udala Radio 104.7 FM, the voice of the region, where authentic news and entertainment meet. Udala Radio 104.7 FM, seriously authentic. Shots for Soludo. APGA APGA Ndanambraga Kwanotio Une
na-ekwekwana ka e were unu wee gbochie ọrụ ọma Chukwu na Chichas Soludo wee na-arụ na Anambra steeti. Unu makwa na anyụkọ mamịrị ọnụ ọkpụ ụfụfụ. Ngwa bịakọtanụ n'igwe ka anyị kwado nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Chukwuma Chichas Soludo. Unu afụghị ihe niile ọ na-eme na mbara dị iche iche site na Anambra North, South to Central. Na-ekwu okporo ụzọ niile nke ọrụgo, na-ekwu ụlọ akwụkwọ nke ọ na-emepe, na-ekwu hospital nke ọrụgo. Unu afụgonu ka ụmụ nwaanyị anyị si wee na-amụ nwa n'udo free of charge. Ụmụ akwụkwọ wee na-agụ akwụkwọ n'efu. Ihe a niile ya na ihe ndị ọzọ ka Chukwuma Chichas Soludo na-eme na Anambra steeti. A na-ekwusi maka New Government House nke kwuru okwu ya kemgbe 1991, ya bụ 34 years na ya na Soludo arụgharịghị ya. Kedu maka New Solution Fund City? Nwanne m Soludo nọ n'ọrụ. Ndị Anambra ọrụ ọma ama nkwụkwọ agụ bịanụ n'igwe ka anyị kwado nwanne anyị nwoke bụ Chukwuma Chichas Soludo. Anambra Patriots for Soludo.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Public announcement. The Anambra State Housing Development Corporation, ASHDC, wishes to inform all the allottees of the Obuwane, Liberation and Green Valley Housing Estates, Oka Capital Territory, respectively, that the corporation has opened up all the roads in these estates. Consequently, allottees are to take physical possession of their plots and develop same to habitable state. It is mandatory that allottees secure the necessary approvals before proceeding for development. Allottees who fail to comply with this directive risk revocation of their allocation. Be also informed that we have limited number of plots in these estates for allocation to interested persons on first come first allocated basis. Please be guided accordingly. Signed, Jane Okafor, Head of Media and Marketing, Anambra State Housing Development Corporation.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to The Polity. Get involved now.
Absolutely, the conversation is still on here on The Polity on Udala Radio 104.7 FM. And of course, we were going to switch over to the PDP politics. But before we do that, Franklin, you really wanted to say something concerning the suspension of Honorable Bernard.
Yes, of course, there are plenty of things to talk about this very issue that happened because we know how, or we know when this thing started, and we even raised it on this very platform. For those who are not aware, of course, if you recall that very incident that happened in Anambra State House Assembly, I think that was a few months after they were inaugurated. Somebody went for sitting using a tricycle. This is the person we're talking about now. You know, he went to the house using a tricycle as a way to protest the fact that they had not been given the official vehicle. And we know how that story went viral. And now we now had this very incident. Because this whole thing began as, should I say, as an expression of dissatisfaction, because he went on Facebook, you know, talking about things happening in the house. And one of the biggest things that he did, which led to where we are now, is that he revealed that a certain amount of money is given to lawmakers of the state every 3 months as their constituency project allowance. I think about 7.5 million before he mentioned. Okay, he said yes, 7.5 million. I think I'll say.
I had 10.
I'll see check. 10. No, he said they were getting 7.5 million before. Later it was increased to 10 million.
Okay.
Every 3 months. He reviewed that, then reviewed other things he did on that very platform, saying that people should begin to ask their lawmakers questions on what they have been using their money to do. I think this is where this second round of crisis started. And then there was this report that the House was going to suspend him. He made him to go back to social media again to react, saying that let's see how he's going to play, that he's not going to expose everybody. And he went on a tirade, you know, using uncouth languages, uncouth words, and what have you not. But he revealed some things, which, on the other side, we need to look into it and see if there is any kind of substance in what he said or not. He talked about how the House doesn't have independency. He talked about other things and what have you not. But where I want us to go to is why the House suspended him. The House suspended him, saying that the things he did were unparliamentary. That is the basis of what happened. So that issue of suspending him, that things he did were unparliamentary, I want us to look at it critically. Whether those things he did actually were unparliamentary, perhaps the Anambra State House Assembly was trying to protect the integrity of the institution, or perhaps they were trying to shut down the lone voice that dared to question the status quo, that dared to ask people not to remain silent anymore. That's number one. Then number two, the suspension for 3 months without pay. And of course, if you look at the legal precedents we have, in the case of Aline Dume and Co., Dino Melaya, the court has ruled that, of course, the legislature can suspend a member for not more than 3 months at maximum. The normal is 14 days, but for not more than 3 months. So we can say that this is within the ambit of what the law has laid as a precedent. But in the area of withholding his salary, I also want us to put it to question whether the House has that very power to withhold his entitlement for this very 3 months, Tony.
And I'd also like to add, Tony, before you proceed, what happens to his people while he's being suspended? I mean, their interests should be rightly represented regardless.
Remember, Natasha Akpoti is still suspended as we speak, and then even when the court has ruled that she be reintegrated, she has not. I'm trying to weigh these two issues between his kind of person and Natasha Akpoti's person. Natasha Akpoti had issue with Senate President and went on to review quite a lot between herself and the Senate President and other things she felt the Senate President committed, and she went on social media as the case may be, and many condemned her mannerism and her approach. And to date, we saw how Justice Binta Nyako recommended that she be reinstated, and then the House read that to be a recommendation, not an express order. The case is still on. As we speak today, Andona Delvo, the immediate former speaker of Benue State, was suspended yesterday. And if you look around, what was his own sayings? I said it here yesterday. Exactly what I said yesterday was what they read out to be his own sayings. That he was plotting impeachment, plot against the governor, the Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, that he convened a meeting, secret meeting, where he used attendants to get signatures in a way to impeach the governor, and that being the speaker using his office to get signatures and so many other things they said. And also how the appointments the governor made, he rejected to, turned them down, asked governor to make reappointment, which the governor also obeyed. For them, they said that you are trying to put the state into a political crisis, and that attitude was unbecoming of a parliamentary man, and they suspended him for 3 months. Now, back in Anambra State.
Sorry, Tony. Unbecoming, is it constitutionally wrong for a speaker to move towards the impeachment of a governor?
Impeachment is lobbying.
That's what I'm saying.
And for me, if you ask me to make a statement on that one, I didn't see anything the former speaker, committed. Before any impeachment, there will be meetings, whether you call it secret or open. There will be meetings.
So him being suspended is also very questionable.
For me, it's questionable on that ground they raised, that he was plotting to impeach the governor. Because for you to impeach, you must have secret meetings, you must get signatures. So, but they told me that he was plotting or trying to put the state into a political crisis. But that's by the way. Now let's come back to Anambra State. The young man, I love his revelations, no doubt. At least I'm aware now that a state House of Assembly member gets 10 million for constituency project, but it's also appropriated, because I've been able to look at the appropriation law. It is inserted, not that they were giving freebies
every 3 months.
No, don't wait.
And I've been trying to figure out what can 10 million do.
No, don't worry. I have seen those of them that bought bought shuttle bus, bought sewing machine, and even grinding machine. I've seen some of them distributing this thing in their constituency. Not all of them, but there are those that will be given such amount of money, they will put it inside their pocket. But I also want to ask the young man, the ones he has also got, what has he done for the people of Ayamelum? You are from Ayamelum, probably you will tell us that, Chisom. What has he used his own 10 million per 3 months? There are many of them that have not used it. There are some that have used it. I can count 2 or 3 of them that I've seen making or distributing some of these things to their constituents. But there are so many of them that do not even use it. Even when you said the money says it's appropriated for, it is within the ambit of the law, because appropriation law is also a law. So that is by the way. Now, with those revelations, for me, very okay. And then when he charged the people, question your lawmakers, question your house members, and he went on to also put government on their toes. Where government believes that government may not be working, he challenged government. But where he pronounced APC, he, coming out on social media as a lawmaker, you call APC names, call ABGA names, call PDP names, call candidates to this election names, not just Soludo. He called the Labour candidate names. He called the PDP candidate names. He was calling people names. 2 persons he absorbed: the YPP candidate, whom he did not call his name, and the ADC candidate, whom he did not call his name. But then APC, ABGA, and then PDP, he called their candidate's name. I won't say those things here. But that's by the way. So you find out that if he had used his energy, you asked whether his activities were unparliamentary. I think the ground upon which he was suspended, if you ask me, was not honoring the invitation. You were invited, and you called the house on Diara for inviting you. I think for me, that ground alone deserves to be looked into. When you are invited to come and explain all these allegations, because for you to suspend somebody, you must give that person a fair hearing. And if you have extended that and the person decide not to use it, and you go on to do that, I've seen courts, you must measure similarity between court and the state assembly. Both of them use gavel. The speaker uses gavel, the judge uses gavel, right? And they rule on certain things based on what was presented before them, right? So you can see that similarity. So when the committee came out to say, we invited this man, he called us on Dara and then said that we are mad people, that we don't know what we are doing. We gave him his own space to come and explain some of those things. If I were him, I would have gone there to tell them more and even challenge them more, and then tell them that based on everything I've said, apart from the uncount languages which he could apologize, because he used uncount languages, he could apologize. But outside those things, and then the allegation which he can also, make it known that he can go on to prove it. He doesn't fear any invitation by anybody. If he can get those stands, I get you. He may not have been suspended. If they're suspended based on that ground, I will come here and challenge it. I will say that is wrong. But he decided not to.
Just quickly. I asked a question about the withholding of his salary. Does the house have the power to do such?
I wouldn't sit down here to say they have or they do not have. But what I can say is, under provisions of the Constitution, like Section 101, Constitution says the House of Assembly have power to regulate their own, everything about their own.
So is it like an internal affair? They decide what to do?
And that's what I'm saying. I can't say here, but if you go by, it depends on what you judge. If you go by the provision of the Constitution under Section 101 says the House of Assembly has powers to regulate their own proceeding. So if that becomes part of their proceedings, so be it. But I'm also aware where the House has been lenient. I was saying it before we went off air, but I want to say it here. If you go by provision of Section 109, subsection F, it says, if you go by that provision, it quickly says, let me read it out so that it won't be my own word. A member of a House of Assembly shall vacate his seat in the House if, go by subsection F, without just cause, he is absent from meetings of the House of Assembly for a period amounting in the aggregate to more than 1/3 of the total number of days during which the House meets in 1 year. So what that means is that the House meets about 120 days in a year, and the young man has been absent for 52 days. So that is above 1/3. So what it means that if you go by
and that's now who is going to give life to this very provision of the law? Who is going to give life? Because we're having this sense now with the condition upon which a lawmaker has to leave the office by the virtue of defection.
Yes.
So who is going to give life to this for this to happen?
So, if I also like to add, if you actually want that to happen, going by investigations, in his videos, Honorable Bernard also alleged that he is not the only member. And if you think that is a ground for him to leave his office, then all of you need to vacate your seats.
No. I think if he says he's not the only member.
He said, you people don't come, so what am I supposed to come here?
No, he wouldn't say you
And he
people.
also said that when you come and move a motion, it is panel beated and panel beated, so there was no need for him to come. This should also be investigated.
That is, for me, is a strong point he used wrongly. If for the fact that your motion is panel beaten, is it enough for you not to come at all?
Big question.
Remember, you are paid. Taxpayers' money is being used to fund your appearance. The issue of 3 cycle you mentioned, yes, he was the person that within space of time they were elected members, he was demanding car. They should give us car. They should give us car. Why would government not give us car? And at the end of the day, I was told when I made inquiry, why have they not been giving their official vehicles? I was told that many of them have litigations before court at the tribunal. That if you give him car, and what if tribunal removes him? What it means, he will go away with the car, or you go and retrieve the car and give the person second-handed car. So normally, what government does is to wait until everybody dispatches with his cases, and he was not patient enough. He was demanding car, and then he was saying that they should be giving police orderly. That if governor goes around with police orderly, why can't he go with police orderly?
Tony,
and then also he said that you should be given escort. If governors
also have PAs,
just give me to
all of that.
And he said a lot of things. And I love his dream anyway. I would want to also have police orderly. I would also want to have escort. I would like to have police orderly. Right. And he's demanding. I looked at Lagos State, even as rich as they are, their state members don't have police orderly. Okay. They don't even move with escorts.
What does the Constitution say about that?
No, it's a privilege. So the Constitution does not say anything about that. The Constitution said that they will be given.
Okay, just give me 2 minutes. I'm going to raise something, but I don't need an answer for these things. It's just for it to be there, because from what happened in the House, we can establish that there were some infractions on the side of Honorable Demezu that happened before this, but they overlooked it in the spirit of camaraderie. All those things were aligned there, because some of these issues they raised that were issues against him. For me, they were afterthought. Yeah. They tried to marry it into the main thing issues that led to this very thing. So the thing is this: we need a vibrant House that is alive to its responsibility at any point in time. And it appears like we have a legislature that is like a secret court, whereby once you're a member, you can't say anything that is going to in any way, should I say implicate or in any way indict the member, because each time you say it, you become an enemy and they find a way to get back at you. I can't forget the case of Shehu Sani in 2018 when he revealed that
they were earning
13.5 million as running cost.
They nearly suspended him.
It was Bukola Saraki and the Kurema that saved him.
They
nearly suspended him
for making such
and
disclosure.
After making that disclosure, it didn't end up well with him.
He didn't come back again. And so just like the Kano State member also made, my own is this: we don't want to have an assembly that is more like a court society. I want a situation whereby everything about them, they have their own cameras. But with this, with what the young man has done, we want external cameras to also beam touchlight on what they are doing. If you are prevented from speaking as a member, I don't mind you breaking the protocol. You can't stop me from speaking because I'm here to represent my people. It's important. So there are other ways the young man, I think, just like I said, he did not use his energy rightfully, but he decided to maybe not come when he's not allowed to speak, not doing this. No. You go there and challenge. You are representing your people.
Definitely.
You are representing. You have the mandate of the people, not mandate of the speaker.
When you spoke about the instances of secrecy in different houses and how people say certain things and they are suspended, I am just wondering also a rhetoric here. Why is it that when things like this come up, the people do not even protest them? You know, we wait till maybe where hunger is the problem. It looks like this is the politician's problem, but this politician's problem here is also our problem. He's in it because of us. Anyway, let's go over to the PDP now. The ticket zoning to the south for 2027 has brought about some kind of split within their ranks also. Recall that the National Executive Committee of the party at its 102nd meeting on Monday zoned the presidential ticket to the southeast, while also retaining the current National Working Committee headed by Ambassador Omar Damagun. And this decision has pitted various northern groups in different camps, with many describing this development as undemocratic and contrary to the spirit of fair competition. There are prominent members of the PDP who are in tune with this, but the likes of the national president of Iowa Youth Consultative Forum, Yerima Shetima, said the PDP's decision to zone its ticket has raised many questions that require answers. He's also of the opinion that this is going to, in a way, disenfranchise, qualifying people from the north from competing come 2027. Also, leaders from the North Central Zone under the platform of the North Central Renaissance Movement have rejected the PDP's zoning come 2027.
You know, I said this thing yesterday. You don't try to avert problem and plunge yourself into a bigger one.
Frying pan to fire.
That's what it is. I said yesterday that PDP in their history had never come out in the open and say we zone to this side. It has always been an internal arrangement. You don't pronounce it. Even when the zonal committee, whenever they meet, they will come out with recommendations which will be treated at the National Congress. So there are many people that can sue PDP over this, and there will be litigation. Election will come and go. So the idea of not pronouncing it because it's purely unconstitutional. Zoning is not anywhere found in the Constitution. The only thing that is close to zoning, issue of equity, fairness, is federal character. And federal character is under Chapter 2 of the Constitution, which is not even justiciable. For the fact that the president makes an appointment that is lopsided, yes, under Section 14 of the Constitution, you shall have a kind of government that commands national loyalty. We are no section of the country we dominate. Is there, but it's there as a kind of advisory note. You can't take it to court. That's the only thing that is close to fairness, equity, and probity. So, but it's not something we take to court. Now, PDP has pronounced zoning. They can be sued. It's purely unconstitutional. Purely unconstitutional. And these people, the Northern Renaissance Movement or whatever name they call themselves, can take it as a matter before a court of court. And if you find court making a ruling, and what do you expect, even without preempting anything, the court will rule that this thing is unconstitutional.
Tony, I think this very person addressed this very thing yesterday about Moro. He said PDP didn't buy anybody from any other part of the country outside the South from contesting the ticket in 2027. But PDP is saying this is where we are tilted. This is where we are favorably disposed. If anybody decides to join the race from the North come 2027, of course the person can do that, but we know where we are. And if you look at the committee that decided that they should retain the zoning arrangement whereby the PDP national chairman should come from the North and then the candidate for the presidency should come from the South. We had northern persons in that very group. Even the likes of Jerry Ghana, they were at one point or the other advocating that PDP should do the needful and zone to the South. Now, the point is this. Even if PDP has zoned to the North, there must have been reaction too.
Definitely.
So either way, either way it would have gone, there would have been reaction. But if you look at those people who have been reacting, check all of them. They are all groups from the northern part of Nigeria. Then there's also one PDP member who I have seen people who are working because he wants to contest for the presidency. I'm trying to somebody Hashima. He has also reacted saying that PDP did the wrong thing by zoning the ticket to the south come 2027. Now, what I'm trying to look at is this: everybody always speaks from the point of the interest they want to protect. The North want to. Let me not say the North. Some persons from the North still want the North to get the power, despite the fact that we have this unwritten understanding or agreement that there should be power
rotation
or even power sharing between North and South. Now, North took 8 years and South is doing 4 years, and there's this very understanding that South should be allowed to complete 8 years so that we won't get back to this issue of going back and forth that, oh, this was truncated. We know what happened to Jonathan. Because history is all there. So in essence, can we say because some groups within the North are reacting, saying that PDP didn't do the right thing, can we say because they are reacting that PDP shot itself in the foot? By the way, if PDP had gone North for 2027, would that have given them a chance to win the incumbent?
You asked, for me, in summary, you raised major two concerns anyway. If they had gone north, would have given them the chance to defeat the incumbent. If they had gone south, would have given them. And we are talking about people who have political weight. It's not about going north. It's not about going south. You talk about individuals that have political weight. Let me say this. My concern with PDP is making pronouncement and issuing a statement. You don't do that. You recommend. If PDP had said, or we recommend our candidate to come from south, it's pure recommendation. Nobody will see you. It's a recommendation. And you work towards their recommendation. You don't make pronouncement. Because that pronouncement is the issue now. It's unconstitutional. Recommend. And now you ask the second question. The second question you ask, if they had gone, and yeah, just like I said yesterday, the only two persons that can challenge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu using a platform that has structure nationwide is Atiku and Obi. Three of them went in this match. We saw their.
What about Jonathan?
No. Jonathan, fair enough, but he has not got that popularity when you measure it with Obi and Atiku. See, if you give Obi a platform like PDP, where you have sincerity and honesty, he will challenge the president, because PDP has reached everywhere where their governors will be committed to work
the
towards
PDP presently as it is, regardless of the problems they have had within their structures. Do you think that if Obi rides in the vehicle of the PDP would have a destination?
Obi may even surprise anybody without even the governors. Like the one he did he do with any governor? He didn't do it with any governor.
Okay.
So if Atiku goes in there, just like we saw in the last election, Atiku was a candidate of PDP. We saw how far he was able to get. But at the same time, he may need to close more ranks. So it's not about north or south. It's about these individuals. If you take these individuals away, if you give PDP to any person in the south or give PDP to any person in the north, who would challenge President Bola Ahmed? We are talking about people that have got movement following them already outside political party.
Well, let's attend to some commercials and we don't eat into your time. The call lines are buzzing already. Keep it locked.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it on the dosialo. Wendy's bread, mama papa they like Wendy's bread, that you turn and do. Wendy's bread, even children they like Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, Wendy's bread, get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's your body. Wendy's bread,
Wendy's bread, your tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Misha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Hooray! Football is alive again in Onitsha. nwanne Igbo onye egwu egwu ekere football street championship of Onitsha. Winners will take home 1.5 million naira. I repeat, 1.5 million naira. So what are you still waiting for? Call this number
0806 391 5257
for your registration and further inquiries. Registration runs from 1st to 30th of August 2025. Special thanks to our headline sponsors, Winners Global Estate Limited, and our media partners, Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Egwekere Football Street Championship. Ball Obe na Doda.
Special announcement. Hope Specialist and Maternity Hospital, number 104, Modebe Avenue, Odakbo, Onitsha, Anambra State, presents the free antenatal week with the theme Safe Mother Initiative, Safe Mother, Safe Baby. From Thursday 26th to Saturday 30th August 2025, between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily, there will be free gynecologist consultation, free laboratory test, free registration for pregnant mothers. And that is not all. From August to December 2025, enjoy 50% discount on normal child delivering. This life-changing program is specially designed for the well-being of pregnant women, nursing mothers, and children, all at Home Specialist and Maternity Home, Onitsha, your trusted specialist in women and child's health. For enquiries, call 080-3674-8730. 080-3674-8730. Hope Specialist Hospital, your partner for safe motherhood.
Udala Radio 104.7 FM. Seriously authentic.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
You have the floor now. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973 or 0803-827-6694. We are live on Facebook at Udala Radio 104.7. You have 2 minutes. Be as objective as possible. And please go straight to the point. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, my ladies. Good morning.
You're welcome. It's good to have you.
Mbeki.
It's good to have you.
Good morning, my friend. You are talking about your experience. Go join politics so that they can hold the whole traffic for you too. Well, okay, being a city, well, you all need them. My name is Udala. I'm reaching you from the gardens of the south of Nigeria. This is time to ask the master planner, Chief from Wike, Honorable Minister for Federal Capital Territory, PDP. Now, what does he really want to do? He succeeded in everything. What now does he want? Is he trying to use PDP as a stepping stone to show up his own personal political ambition? We must not lose that he originally wanted to be running late to Atiku Abubakar, before Okowa pushed him aside. Anyway, where they did it well. What goes around comes around. As for the young man, the House member in Anambra State, I think we must be very, very careful how we handle that case. And we must bring his youthful exuberance and he being a political neophyte into power. We must think about it. Because look at it, what goes around comes around from what he's been saying. Actually, I think the box stops at someone's desk. I respected Soludo a lot because of his pedigree. I even supported him. I was in Oka, but now I wonder. There must be some certain issues he should step into to save himself from losses. After all, he has got an election around the corner. Aside, he has become quite loquacious. I take an exception on the way he talks to my principal, Obi. That is not politics. that is anger, maybe jealousy. Well, that is by the way. But the House members should use everything in their power, their advantage. But the young man didn't know that he also has a advantage position to fight, like all of you have said there, including Dr. Tony. The guy is a political new fight. And there is nothing you can do. It's in his mind. But he should have put it in a better way. And after two members of the House must realize that House of Assembly is not a court. And this is what has been happening since Jonathan's time. We turned our houses, Senate, whatever, into a kind of occultic assembly. Just look at it. Thank you very much. Have yourself a good day.
All right, then. Thank you for your contribution. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
From Chinedu. Ebuka Franklin, good morning.
You're welcome.
Honorable Deacon, calling from Onitsha. I think I still want to comment more on this member representing Ayamelum. Really, I don't really think that suspending him to me, it's not democratic. They must have to learn how to accept criticism. What happened here is not much different from what happened in the case of Natasha. And Anambra State is setting the pace, and don't expect us to degenerate this lower as far as democracy is concerned. The man has his right to opinions, whether in the floor or anywhere you can think of. Today, if you Google the salary of an average lawmaker in the U.S., in advanced countries of the world, everything is laid bare. But here it is a crime. So I think we must learn how to do the right thing. When we talk about democracy, and under Professor Chukuma Soludo, we don't expect this kind of thing here to happen. Because as a prof, as a man that has been an international figure, just like the similar case that played out with the Agunai Chamber, we know that people can, do one thing or the other out of overzealousness or out of intoxication of any addictions. Anything can be, applied to that. But we are looking at a man that has of an international standard, a man that the world knows, a man that handled the CBN, a man that made banks not to collapse anymore. And under his watch, this kind of thing is going on. Even if it's happening in other states, if it's happening in the country or in Africa, we don't expect it here. So I think the State Assembly have to look inward and see what they can do to recall this young man. Whatever he has done can be handled in a more civilized and in a more democratic way.
Right, you should be rounding off now.
Yes, I'm rounding off. There's a way the world is looking at those involved. Not just what Nigeria is doing, but there are people involved that the world is looking at. That's just my take this morning. Thank you so much.
Right then, let's hear what you have to say. 08038276694. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Chisom. Dr. Olisa Mbeki and the Franklin.
You're welcome.
Good morning to you all.
You're welcome.
Chidi Chukuma joining you from Bo. Let me speak on that young man, Udemezu. Yes, we have seen his emotion and sentiment, his overzealousness. Everything is not about emotion and sentiment. And also, I must commend him somehow, partly, because he's there to represent his people. But your freedom is not to attack anybody or accuse anybody falsely. I think that young man is overzealous, doing the right thing in a wrong way, just as Dr. Tony Mbeki has emphasized. In a particular platform, I defended him without knowing fully what he has committed. But now that Tony has expanded in so many things, I have seen so many faults there. This is how the First Republic was destroyed, by the youthful inclusive in politics without knowing how they have fared for this country. That this country, the setback we have, if you want to look into what happened in the past, looking at our past, you see how youth has contributed so much to set this country backward politically and economically. So we have seen his overzealousness and also the level of rascality there. And then I must tell people to be very, very careful. The people that you elect into position of authority, even in your town and villages, even in the church. Because such people is everywhere, even right there in the church, taking position of authority. And if you allow them, what we see is a crisis everywhere. So people must be very careful. If you want to elect people, try to know their history, their background, before electing them into the position of authority. So the application he has, the onus of proof is on him. Let him prove it. And we can't
be rounding
off it under the carpet because it's too weighty. Let me stop here. Thank you.
All right then. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes, good morning.
Badmus Honor from Unewi.
Go ahead,
let me go straight to the point. Based on the young lawmaker that was suspended, this is what we have been saying here. You know, most times people ask why our lawmakers so silent, they don't talk. These are the reasons. When they talk, they will be nailed, they will be suspended and all that thing. So when you see all these senators and House of Rep members and House of Assembly members keep mute, it's because of this. Not that they don't know how to talk. But when they talk, it will be interpreted with whatever. And remember, just like Tony said here, that the House, whatever they come up here to do, they have Constitution has given them powers to do whatever they want to do. They want to, even if, do you know that the deputy governor was impeached in this country because they allege that he has poetry. So whatever they come up here and concoct and say, we will take it like that as long as they are among them. If you go to court, you are wasting your time. So now let me go to the other side. The issue of the OB and Atiku. And let me tell you, if good luck Jonathan, because last time when PDP were having their what they have last time, I saw Jonathan's banner. They put it there for 2010. So I don't know if he's interested. But at the end of the day, if Jonathan is interested to run under PDP, and it will be a very hot for Tinubu. Except if Atiku is on the ballot and Obi is on the ballot, then Jonathan is there, and it will be good, then Tinubu will win. But if ABC and PDP throw their support behind Jonathan, Tinubu will not see the light of the day. Thank you.
All right then. Good morning.
Good morning, my speaker, Tony Mbeki.
Good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning, Chisom and Franklin. This is the voice of Honorable Migration Sokoye from our ancient kingdom. But I'm calling from there now. You see this zoning of PDP to the south. Some people are saying that it's a welcome thing. So we are saying many things against it. Not only it's against it, there is unconstitutional. But I see it another way. Some people say that it's a plan to give Tinubu a free way. I don't see it in that form. See, what is like a draft, it's like a game. If PDP and they zone it to the south, who is the person that takes the president's slot? The person matters. If they give it to good luck, cannot do anything. The only person that can give to good luck and P2B in the south, only P2B can pull weight. If they give it to us, and P2B is not ready to go there. And if P2B is not ready to go there, and then if this ABC party, if there's no problem there, P2B and Atiku come together will vote ADC, and APC will fail woefully. The problem is that the country is not good. The people that are governing us are not doing the right thing. People are hungry. The commoners are the people suffering. Even as they are said that which is planning to pave way for Tinubu. I don't see it that way. How many votes have they? The people who vote is these commoners in the village who are hungry. I had one man from the I think for the EPC saying that even if they allow all the parties, other parties, that's not only we are only talking about PDP and the ADC and the
You should be rounding off now.
That even if they do so, the people are hungry. If these two men, it will be under people, match together, APC will fail. Thank you.
All right, then let's head over to Facebook and see what you've got to say.
Okay, so on our Facebook page we have this very one from Ebunike Bonaventure. He says CNE being a youth does not cancel the fact that the President's House of Assembly is in the governor's pocket. Many issues were alleged by him concerning the House, which the House is yet to attend to. The suspension is just to intimidate him and nothing more. A governor that has been taunting that a House member that is not of ABGA will just be receiving his salary without meaningful impact in his constituency can go to any length to stifle any opposition. Personally, I think an attempt or threat has been thrown on Isenyi, and he is using this to get a leverage. Then I have this very one from Henry Elus from Reef Market. He says the allegations from this Ayamlembon lawmaker is a weighty one that shouldn't be seen from the opposition point of view. The death of Honorable Soka was politically motivated, judging the scenario that played out, including the sudden escape of the alleged suspect with the delay in getting justice for Asoka. I call on well-meaning Nigerians and the civil society organizations to investigate these allegations and ensure that justice is served to whoever responsible for the death of Honorable Soka. Immunity or not. On Anambra House of Assembly member who was suspended, to me, he actually has a case. Behind any allegation, there are levels of truth. He shouldn't be intimidated because he refused to support the present government. And secondly, the police, whomever is inviting him, should as well be holistic in their investigation. Then, Ekegona says, saying the truth in Nigeria now is a crime. Suspending a House member simply because he made video of his own account to tell us the amount they receive, and he's now facing suspension. Okay, and Wichiobi says, I want to talk about Anambra at 34. My humble assessment, Anambra State is on the rise, but to make the development faster, everybody must work together in the state. And this very one is from okay, Odnakai Gon says, okay, okay, he's saying that the comment of the day does not listen to anyone or anybody who has a contrary view. So for him, okay, so for him, the young one may be right in all his allegations. And then this very one says, instead of addressing or investigating the concerns raised by the young lawmaker, we are here committing fallacy of ad hominem. From the governor's body language, it seems the allegation was true. I was at late Azoka's burial at St. Mary's Onitsha, and he said he saw what happened. So he's saying that we are quick to crucify the federal government, but apply kid gloves when it has to do with Anambra State. Now tell me what is different between Ababio-led government and some tools. And according to him, rubber stamp, like the National Assembly, like subnational. Okay, his name is Obina Williamson Ramparosino Okata, and that'll be all. Some other persons I didn't take their own because the things they talked about were
not related.
Exactly.
All right, gentlemen, let's round off the conversation today. Tony, what would be your last words, especially in reaction to some of the comments we've gotten so far?
I think many people should learn how Engineer Baribe, how he does his own opposition. He has spoken the truth many times on the floor, even outside the floor. I remember when the issue of Nnamdi Kanu was raised, how he defended it, how he spoke about it. On the government flamboyancy, we've seen how he has always on the floor challenging the house, and at a point he has walked out during plenary because they were trying to not just intimidate him or take a position that is against his belief. These are ways I've watched, I've listened, I've followed parliamentary procedures and proceedings all over the world. You can be an opposition, apply it rightly. The young man in view, if somebody comes out and accuses anybody of anything, it's within the person's right to make accusation, but you have to prove it too. Because the person you're accusing can also sue you for character assassination or damaging if you don't prove it. So we must know where our right stops and where it begins. Just like I said, I thank him for certain revelations, but I also employ him to use his youthful energy. Follow Abaribe. If you learn from him how he does his own thing. And nobody has suspended Abaribe. But he can also, based on the fact that he's a youth, he can also add Facebook to whatever he does. But don't attack people, try to kill them, if anybody threatens to kill somebody, he calls somebody, he comes, he shout on the fire you, look at it. It makes no sense. It may even make anybody who is serious to listen to you not to. So check your languages, but continue with your activism or possibly your opposition. You are free to do that.
All right then. Thank you, Tony Mbeki, for your wonderful contribution this morning. Franklin?
Yes, I must say that the young man made some salient revelations, which for me, they need to be investigated. Now, the one that doesn't need any investigation, which we all know, is like what they call Toto. We know that in Nigeria, not just in Anambra State, in Nigeria, the state lawmakers are always in the pocket of the governors. That is what it is. We don't need
Rubber stamp.
We don't need to paint it. That is the way it is. In fact, in the 7th Assembly in Anambra State, I had a friend who was in the house, and he told me how it was tedious for him to get his motions and bills to be read on the floor of the house. Because I was asking him, we knew you as somebody who was very vibrant, even from your school days. And we know what he told us. We know, then in this 8th Assembly, we know how Henry Mbachu of Labour Party, how he tried to rise to the position. We know how his own case was managed. So that one is not anything hidden. So that one, we know that very well. But what I'm trying to say is this. When it comes to lawmaking is different from activism. We should be able to understand this. And now, what I'm not telling the people is this. We are yet to understand the critical importance of legislature in our democracy. By the time we understand that, not come and we're good lawmakers, than we're good executive, because that is the fulcrum of the democracy. The quality of men we elect to the House of Assembly or the Senate determines if our democracy is going to grow or not. Because if you're able to elect men who have great, who can say it's time for us to stand on our own, that's when they can give the run for their money, and we'll begin to have these checks and balances and begin to control all the excesses of these three arms of government. I rest my case.
Right then, the Polity is going to make a return tomorrow, 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Remember that politics is the life that we all live. It is our reality and not just a conversation made for the elite. So you better get involved now. Until tomorrow, my name is Chisom Chinedu. Do not forget to do the right thing to get the Nigeria of your dreams.
Ibo